So let's try solving these. If you need a calculator, you can snag one. I'm also going to show you how you can check your answers on the graphing calculators today. There is a way that it will solve some of these somewhat for you. And I won't let you just do this. You have to use, and show no work, but you can use your calculators to check your answers. And when you get to the formula ones, go to, let's say, 3 decimal places, and one of these or 2 of these is a little weird. Done all 3 already? Finished all 3 already? Oh, okay, then here we go. Yeah, solved by factoring and by formula. Because your test is going to have both. I'll pause the video. Hello, person who promised me that they would show up in my class. Let's see, how does that factor, Mr. Dueck? It factors into... What does it factor into, Mr. D? Is that the answer to the first one? Yeah? Okay, I'll scroll down for the quadratic formula ones. Not done the second one, but partway through I got... Is that right? You got a 76 inside the square root? Okay, let's keep typing Mr. Dueck. Those are the roots that I got for the first one, and I'll take questions in a second. The second and the third one are a little bit weird. Who is, aside from people that were away last day, who has not finished the first one? Okay. How many of you got 0.679 and negative 3.679? Okay, so those of you that didn't, double check your calculator work. It is some calculator work. Let's walk through number 2 and number 3 together. Let's see. We said that if you're going to use the quadratic formula, you need to identify what A, B, and C are Joe, a is the number in front of the x squared. What number is sitting there? It's invisible. What's b? What's c? So it's going to be x equals negative b, right? Plus or minus the square root of, what's inside the square root? Can you read it to me? What does it say in the formula, Joe? Joel? So, because I'm rushed for time, I'm going to go to my calculator. What did you say b was? 6 squared minus 4 times, what's a? I guess I didn't need to type the times 1, but I will just to be paranoid. Times 9. What does the square root work out to? Oh, okay. All over, what's 2a? Sometimes, Nicole, you may end up with a 0 inside your square root. Rob, what is the square root of 0 in your head? 0. In fact, this just ends up being negative 6 plus or minus 0 over 2. Does adding or subtracting 0 make a difference at all, Kayla, to your answer? No. As a matter of fact, the answer to this is negative 6 over 2. Just this one only gives you one answer. This is a quadratic, Jacob, that gives you what we call a double root. You get this answer twice. In fact, this guy factors. What does it factor into? X plus 3 equals 0. I would have normally solved this by factoring. And Paige, what are the roots? And it's a double root. It appears twice. If you're doing the quadratic formula, sometimes you will get a 0, Chelsea, inside the square root. That actually makes it easier. It also tells you probably could have factored it. What's the square root of 0? So I did. I took care of the square root sign. Like if there had been a 16 there, what's the square root of 16? I would have put a 4 right there, right? Well, how many terms do you have on top, Joe? Did you put a bracket there and there? Guarantee you didn't. What your calculator did is it divided the 0 by 2. It didn't know you wanted to divide the negative 6 by 2. How can it? Right? And if you aren't figuring this out, this is why we don't hand these out to grade 1 kids and say this will do all the math for you. You have to have a fairly basic understanding and even somewhat of an advanced understanding, because the calculators are stupid. They'll do the arithmetic, but they're kind of stupid. Now, who got that, by the way? Okay. The third one. The third one. Nicole, what's A? Yep. What's B? What's C? Okay. X equals negative B. What am I going to write? Yep. Plus or minus. And Joel, you said inside here was b squared minus 4ac. You can write it over here. I'm rushed for time, so I'm going to go straight to my calculator. B squared minus 4 times a times c. What do you get inside the square root? What? Over 8. What? I don't know. Can you? Let's find out. Not every quadratic has an answer. Every quadratic equation, Jacob, has 3 possibilities. 2 answers, most of them, 2 roots. 1 answer, I just showed you an example of one. It was a double root, that negative 3 appeared twice. Some of them have no answers. How can you tell when b squared minus 4ac is negative? Because you can't take the square root of a negative. I'm going to give you on your test 1 with no answer. If you do this, I won't give you full marks because, Kiara, I'll think your calculator barfed at you and you didn't know what to do, you didn't know how to interpret it. If your calculator barfs and gives you that error and then you write that, then I'll give you full marks, because then I say, oh, you recognize this is one of those ones with no solution. There are some with no solution. Okay. I gave you, that's all I wanted to talk about today for the quadratic formula aspect. Oh, no, 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 no. I did tell you that there was a way to check your answer. Yes? And for those of you that are having calculator errors, this might be a way for you to check your answer to see if you've typed it correctly into your calculator. But you need a graphing calculator to do this. So if you don't have a graphing calculator, sign one out right now, please, very quickly. So I showed you how I would tell you. Now, if I give this to you on a test, Cole, I will need to see at least this work or more. This is the bare minimum. Listing, that line there. Some of you are going b squared minus 4ac in a separate line because that's what I taught you, but I was pressed for time. And then the roots. I need to see at least that. However, on your graphing calculator that I told you all to go get, sign it out, please. Menu. And can all of you find somewhere on your menu you have an equation? Mine is down there, but I think yours is option number 8, isn't it? Or something like that? Yeah? So get into there, highlight it, and press enter. This has several different types of solvers. We are solving polynomial equations. What am I going to press for a polynomial equation? F2? And then yours, I think it asks for the degree and it has a bunch of numbers. What makes a quadratic a quadratic? Ah, what do you think you're going to pick there? What's a squared? What degree is that? That's why I preached that at you. So is that F1 for you guys? And can you see at the top of the page there now, if you all get to there? That's the quadratic formula. Is it saying A, B, and C as a quadratic equation? See it there? Now, Joe, what does their equation equal? I did it again. Joel, what does their equation, because Joe sits there in my other block now again. You sit in the same seat. What does, Joel, what does their equation equal to? You have to be able to do that no matter what. In other words, there's a certain amount of algebra, Emma, no calculator will get you away from. Okay? Which means if there was brackets, you'd get rid of the brackets, and you have to plus or minus stuff all to the same side. Now that we've got that, what kind of an equation is this? It's a quadratic. How do I know it's got a squared? Is it equal to 0? Yeah. Oh, what am I going to type in there? What am I going to type in there? What am I going to type in there? Negative, not subtraction button, negative 5. How am I going to solve it? F1. And there's the 2 roots that I got. So you can use that, Chelsea, to check your answer. And I always show kids this because I have no problem with you being able to check your answer. Yes? Yes, to check your answer, absolutely. But, Jacob, if all I see is solve and all I see is, I'm going to give you 0.5 out of 2 because the answer to me is worth half the mark out of 2. No. I need to see that. At least, or more. Some people like to write out the b squared minus 4ac and show all their steps. I'm good with it. Let's check it for this one. How would I get back one screen, Tatiana? Hey, see? Now I guess A is 1, B is 6, C is 9. Solve. And can you see what it's saying? I got negative 3. How many times did it get negative 3? Twice. It's a double root. I got the same answer twice. Exit. Hey, let's try this third one. What does it happen if there is no solution? What does that look like? We should see that. That way you can double check to see if you did do it right. 4, 3, 9. No real roots. By the way, I have fibbed to you. There are actually answers. We call them imaginary answers. That's what they're actually called. There are 2 imaginary answers. That's complex mathematics and it's upper level math in university. But there is a way to solve this and get weird answers. But we have to invent entirely new numbers. Okay. So, having showed you that, having said that, I'm going to first of all pause the video, right click.